Hey, welcome to another video. Today I wanted to discuss something I briefly mentioned in my previous video, link in the description. It was my transition from finance into software engineering. And I wanted to discuss this because it was a big pivot in my life and I kind of glossed over it yesterday. But I wanted to discuss that a little more in detail because ever since I was a child, all the way until college, almost all the way through college, I was thinking that I was going to be a financial analyst. I was going to do business. This was going to be my track. And then I ended up in the middle of college finding another more rewarding path. And so it kind of put me at a crossroads of self-reflection and figuring out what I need to do. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think that there's a lot of people trying to figure out what their career path should be. They might be going down a certain way and they might be thinking this is not as rewarding as I thought it would be. You might be in college, you might be early on in your career, and you're wondering, what is that transition like? Is it too scary? Is it too much of a shift so that I won't be able to handle it? I think this story will hopefully help you think through that a little bit, and maybe you'll be able to glean some things off of it, or maybe you'll just enjoy the story. I don't know, but. So, as I said, as a young child, my dad was a big finance guy, big business guy, and he always kind of taught us financial principles and business principles, and like that was always ingrained into me as a young child. Not like pushed on me, but it was something that was naturally taught. And so by the time I was like 16, I was doing some stock trading, really small stuff, but I was no stranger to it, and it was something I enjoyed, and so that seemed like a natural career progression. And going into college, a lot of people didn't know what they wanted to do, and I was like, oh, I do know what I want to do. I want to be a financial analyst, and so I started my freshman year, and I started going through some of the financial classes. I had done a small bit of community college in high school, so. Some of my gen eds were out of the way, so I started doing some financial classes actually even in my freshman year. So I started doing some finance classes, and they were not quite lining up with what I maybe had expected they'd be. I still enjoyed them. I still thought they were cool, but it was not something that I could see myself doing as a career for my whole life. It was something that I was like, I can take some of these principles and do on the side, but I don't know if I enjoy doing this 40 hours a week. That seems like too much. And so I was going to go through, and I was still sticking with it because I was like, well, I don't know of anything else I like more. I know my personality, I know what I enjoy, but I don't know anything that fits that very well. And so towards the end of my freshman year, I was on a phone call with one of my good friends, and he was doing computer science. And I'm always someone who's interested in understanding what people do, how they do what they do, any sort of projects they're working on. And so we were just naturally discussing through those. And I was asking him about what he was working on specifically, what that looked, any problems he was going through, any solutions and that sort of thing. And he was talking a lot of things that were just going straight over my head because I had never done any finance or any software stuff, and I hadn't done any coding at all. And so he was talking through it though, and I could tell that it was structurally logic based, and it was something that seemed really in line with my interests. And I was kind of curious because I loved logic puzzles and I loved thinking through things systematically, and I was kind of wondering maybe this is something that I should also look into. And so I just point blank asked him at the end of the conversation because he had known me for a while, and I was like, hey, do you think software engineering should be somewhere I should go down? And he was like, oh, I absolutely do. Like, I've thought that the whole time. I've always thought you had the personality and the thought patterns that this would be a good fit for you, and you seem to have that interest. So I would definitely go for it. And so I decided, well, why not? Sophomore year, I had a couple extra time slots for extra classes I could do for electives. And so I ended up doing a computer science class. And it was just a basic Java programming. And for people that know Java, Java's it's not the most structured language, but it's not the least structured. It's pretty specific on how you have to write it. And so I was working through it, and I started doing some of the projects, and I would get a little frustrated with it not working. But then once I was able to think through and figure out where it was either like logically breaking or the language wasn't working quite as I expected, looking through that and being able to break that down and finally solution design it and get the output that I wanted, it really felt rewarding, and it felt way better than anything I had done in finance. And so this got me thinking, well, should this be my career path? Maybe this is what I should be doing. This seems different. And so I ended up thinking maybe I'll do both in tandem, and continue in both tracks. And so I ended up going through college, doing both tracks, and I got to the place where in between my junior and senior year, I had to choose an internship. And this is kind of where there's two forking options. One fork, I could go down the path of finance. It was what I was comfortable with. It's what I knew for my whole life. It was a comfortable position, and I thought I would probably enjoy it somewhat. And it's something that I definitely knew I could do. And then the other direction was the software engineering. And this was a whole new thing. It was something I had not tried before. It was rewarding, but scary. And so I ended up being able to apply for a software engineering position, software development internship, not software engineering position, at a insurance company. And so I ended up doing the internship and doing the software development. And it was a really frustrating internship in the beginning. I had a lot of challenges, and it was in a really complex language called Gosu. The language itself wasn't very complex, but it was more the framework you had to do it in. And it was really frustrating, and I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And then I finally got some help on kind of where to start, and I ended up doing some really cool things in it and getting some really rewarding work out of it. And when I got everything working, it was just such a good feeling, and I was like, okay, I think this is definitely where I want to go. And so I ended up choosing, I'm going to go down the path of software engineering, and that's going to be my career. And then I can couple that with my interest in finance and doing that in my own personal time. And so coming out of college, I got offered a position at the same insurance company, doing some software development, and I continued there and did a few different projects. And then in the meantime, with all the skills I had grown from my life, and I was doing the finance on the side. And so this was a really cool thing because I didn't have to throw away all the work I had done going up into college years and all the knowledge I had. I was able to use it and pivot it in a different way. And I think this is where a lot of people can maybe relate, and a lot of people can maybe take this and apply it to their own stories. Maybe you're going down a path and it's not exactly what you want, and you don't see yourself doing it as a career. Maybe it's not lucrative enough. But find a creative way of using what you know and also using your interests, and try to meld those into a productive and beneficial career path. If I could give any advice, it's try to find something you enjoy that pays well. I think paying well is a big thing. And I don't think, like, you don't have to be rich, but something that you can live off of. Find something that you really enjoy that you can live off of. And if you can't find something that you really enjoy that you can live off of, find something you can tolerate and live off of, and then do what you enjoy on the side. And then maybe you can do that thing on the side and build it big enough so that you can do that full time. And so that's my kind of my projection, my thoughts, and that's what I've done with my life so far, at least. I'm still young, but my optimal solution is software engineering as my main job, and I can do that 40 hours a week, and I enjoy it greatly. But then I also enjoy this finance that I'm able to do on the side in addition. So try to find what you enjoy and what you can do, and take that and go boldly into the future. And hopefully this works out for you. If you want to discuss this anymore, feel free to contact me on any of my social media. And I hope you all have a great day. And those are just my thoughts.